To lock in your favorite WagerTalk expert through the end of the calendar year, it would cost you close to $2,000, but you can get all sports for all of 2021 from the handicapper of your choice for only $9.99. This comes out to under $4 per day and includes any rare 5% best bets released over this time.
Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday, April 22nd. You're watching WagerTalk Today. Can't thank you enough for taking time to join Teddy and I. Teddy, how are you, bro?
I'm doing just fine today, Prez. How about yourself?
No complaints. Lost my game last night. I had the under in the Montreal Canadiens game. Take 5 minutes away from that game, and it's a winner. Three goals scored in 3 minutes, and then 2 goals in 2 minutes. Yeah. Can't do anything about it. But whenever I'm watching the over, Teddy, I'm betting the over and I need a goal bad. I always remind myself, it only takes a second to score a goal.
Okay. That's the truth. And you can have those little spurts. I had first half over Knicks and Hawks last night. Didn't need a first half spread for that one. When your first half total cashes by 25 points, you had a right side there. And, of course, I had the Braves at the plus price against the Yankees again yesterday. That worked out well. So the clients 2-0 last night. No complaints over here.
Nice. Knicks are playing really good basketball right now. 8 in a row, I think they've won. Now sitting in 4th place. You think they can do any damage when the playoffs start?
Define any damage.
How far do you think they could go?
The Knicks could take someone to 7 games in the first round.
That's so lose in 7 in the first round. There's Teddy's prediction. Sure. What happened in the world of sports last night, good sir?
Sure, let's do a little bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. A recap of what happened yesterday so we can put it to bed and focus on today. We'll start in the NHL with a bad beat. Nicholas Earl, ESB, sent this one at Nicholas Earl. Add Nashville in your bad beat segment tomorrow. Up 4-1 in the third period. Lose 5-4 in overtime against the Blackhawks. No fun for Nashville backers last night. It was all Nashville money. It was all Nashville backers. They opened minus 110, closed minus 130. Tough beat. You had them in your pocket. What about the Mavs? Minus 10.5 against the Pistons. They led by 18 in the fourth. They led by 14 with less than a minute to play. But Wayne Ellington hit the 3 that mattered. The Mavs win by only 10, laying 10.5. Tough beat for Dallas backers. This was a tough push, I'm going to call it. Suns against the Sixers. Phoenix was up 6 with 7 seconds left. Then Embiid hits a 3. No biggie. Devin Booker gets fouled, hits 2 free throws. Then Korkmaz hits another 3. And then Chris Paul, only 1 of 2 from the free throw line down the stretch. The Suns win by exactly 3. I'll call it a tough push for Phoenix backers. And it was bad for the books as well. The Suns bet up from -1 with all the Philly injuries. Geez. Oh, what about Golden State last night? The Wizards were up 18 after 1. All right, they blew that lead. They trailed by double digits. They were down 104-93 with under 7 to play. And then Davis Bertans, a monster down the stretch. Curry finally went cold. Washington rallies to win 118-114. Tough beat. You had Golden State. In MLB, let's see, the bullpen blew the under in Giants-Phillies. That was 8.5 down to 8. It was 4-1 after 6, 6-5 final. And the bullpen blew the game for the Angels. L.A. bet up to -175. They're up 3-1 in the 8th against Texas. 7-4 final side and total in disarray thanks to an L.A. bullpen meltdown. Tough beat for Angels backers and for underbetters. When it comes to bad bets last night, well, geez, there was St. Louis money against Scherzer. In Washington, the Cards got shut out again. St. Louis not hitting 2 runs or less in 6 of their last 9. There was Yankees money yesterday. I cashed betting against it, -120. It was high as -150 at the close. They couldn't hit again. Lost to Atlanta. And the Clips sitting Kawhi, George, Rondo, second of back-to-backs, -2 at the open, +4.5 at the close against the Grizzlies. The Clips won that game by 12. All that Memphis money bad bets. Bad for the books. Wild one in Oakland yesterday. The A's opened dogs, closed favorites, and rallied in the ninth and in extras to beat the Twins 13-12. That wasn't a great result for the house. Big wise guy move on Miami in MLB yesterday. The Marlins minus 130 to minus 160 against the Orioles. Well, they got shut out. Shut out Baltimore 3-0. That bad for the house. In the NBA, big wise guy move on the Cavs against the Bulls. Cleveland won that game straight up. And the Raptors, -3 up to -4.5 against the Nets on the second of back-to-backs. The Nets shorthanded, and they finally played like it last night. Raptors won that game by 11. That, not a great result for the house either. There you have it, Prez. Bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. Back to you, my friend.
Teddy, one of the sports books I use, they have this incredible thing where if you're in betting in the NBA and the team you bet goes up by 18, it's a winner. Cashed out. If a team goes up by 3 goals in NHL, it's a winner. Cashed out. Last night, the third time this year, I or Vivian cashed a ticket on a team that was winning by 3 goals and ended up losing the game. How great is that?
That's a nice little perk for that particular sports book. Well done.
Yeah, guys, Dave Cokin joining us and Ralph on the bottom. Dave Cokin, man, love having you with us. How are you, brother? What's going on in Vegas?
It's busy as can be. Everything is, I was one who was, I don't know how long it's going to take for Las Vegas to recover from what's taken place over the last year. And excuse me, I got that wrong because it is electric here. People are flocking to Las Vegas. The restaurants are jammed. I went out last night with some friends and the place was packed. It's great to see. Absolutely love it.
So, Dave, one of the things that happened initially in the in the recovery from the lockdowns, that the weekends were busy and the weekdays without the convention business were still real slow on the Strip. Are you sensing now that the weekdays are getting busy? I know around town, the weekdays are just fine, but on the Strip, are you getting the sense that it's starting to fill up, or is the lack of convention still a major issue in that regard?
The tourist trade is booming. And interesting, in the restaurant we were at last night, I went to Laurie's prime rib, and it was fantastic, of course. They were talking about the fact that they're actually having staffing problems. They don't have enough staff for the customers at this point. And this is all over the city in the service industry. There's more people than the staff can handle right now because a lot of the staffers haven't come back to work yet. They're just collecting their unemployment and don't want to come back to work yet. So it's crazy. And when Las Vegas is crazy, that's good for the city.
Yeah. So I don't know if the two of you are aware of this, but basically you found a place where a person is starving and you stood in front of him and talked about food. Do you feel good about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I understand. I know things in Canada
lockdown.
I know things in Canada are not great
right now. Right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, get out what I want to. Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
You're not. I said I'm aware that things are not great in Canada right now.
Yeah. Full on police state lockdown, and you guys are talking about prime rib. Speaking of which, Dave, I don't like prime rib. Do you choose prime rib over steak?
I like everything, except curry.
Which are you
Indian
choosing?
Food. I don't like curry.
Indian food
depends on the restaurants. Laurie's prime rib is it's as good as it gets. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. I'm not a prime rib guy, and just for the record, in case anyone wants to write this down,
you probably never had Laurie's prime rib.
Okay, well, you'll take me next time I come in about 300 years.
All right, you're on.
Indian is
any excuse for me to go to top flight restaurants. I'm in. That's
okay. I'll pay.
Look,
Indian is my favorite food. Dave, let me talk. Indian is my favorite food in the world, and the Indian restaurant in the Rio, which used to be called Gaylord's, and now I think is the authentic street Indian. I don't remember. It's literally one of the best Indian restaurants on the planet. And that's not my opinion. It has literally been voted one of the best Indian restaurants on the planet. So for anybody who likes Indian, head to the Rio and check that place out. Dave, let's get into some sports talk. LA Dodgers, Ferris Bueller on the mound, minus 170, a total of 7.5, playing the Padres. Where are we going in this game?
San Diego is struggling. WRC plus over the past week, 67. That's not going to get it done. They just got swept by the Brewers. I think they scored 3 runs in the series. They had a tremendous hangover maybe off the Dodgers series last weekend. 3 great games. They lost 2 out of the 3, but did win the 3rd one. But they're not hitting. And going in to face Bueller when you're not hitting is not a good thing. I like Weathers. He's showing a lot of promise. I think moving forward, he's going to be a pretty good starting pitcher for this team. But he's the second best pitcher here. Big price. Dodger offense, a little compromised right now. They're actually also not hitting. Last 7 days, 68 WRC plus. Looks like an under.
So I have so much to say, but I have to start with, if you're asking about Indian restaurant recommendations in Las Vegas, you can ask the guys who live in Vegas. You can ask the guy that's been in lockdown for a year in Toronto. I would not call the Indian restaurant at the Rio one of the top 3 Indian restaurants in this town, let alone in the country, let alone in the world.
Good.
So
then you know what? Then
I will take you to good Indian food in this town. That's issue number 1.
Let's go.
Issue number 2. That might have been the funniest thing you've ever said, Prez. Ferris Bueller instead of Walker. Yeah, that was funny. I'll give you credit for that. Last but not least, Mr. Cokin. Let's talk about Padres and Dodgers for a minute. Now, you're talking about cold lineups and pitchers that we trust, and yet I'm shocked that the money, it looks like there's over money coming in right now. They're over 7.5. Are you surprised by it? And is that an issue for you at all to see which way the markets are moving?
Where the money is, I don't care about that. I've never cared about where the money is. Yeah, if you're going to be good in this, at picking games, it's not going to be because you're worried about what other people are betting. Most of them lose. Who cares what they're betting? And that goes for the so-called sharp market as well. They don't win either. Okay. No, you trust your own stuff. And the numbers here, I didn't play the game. Okay. But the numbers here kind of clearly point to an under. Neither of these teams is hitting right now. And it's a recency sport. Baseball is very much a recency sport. So to me, I couldn't care less what the market's doing with the game. If you're going to be good at this long term, you better have confidence in your own stuff and not just sweating what the market is doing.
And just one more quick follow on this game, because it is a huge game tonight. Obviously, these Dodgers-Padres matchups are going to be intriguing all season long. But at very first glance, to me, the Dodgers looked really cheap. You don't see Bueller less than $2 at home very often.
No,
especially with San Diego slumping. The Dodgers look cheap to you, or is that just stand out to me?
Well, no, I don't think they look cheap. Look, you got to factor in the Dodger injuries. Kind of a key bat missing from the lineup right now. And this is, I think it has to be priced like a rivalry, because this is the rivalry in the National League right now. And the games were very close last weekend. It could have been 3-0 Padres or 3-0 Dodgers. It ended up 2-1 Dodgers. So I think the price is fair enough.
Dave, everybody. Dave, you're having a unbelievable NHL season. About 50% return on investment in your NHL plays from start to finish. I actually don't remember you having any long extended extended slump. I think it's been pretty consistent from start to end.
Had one.
Last we spoke, how long did that slump last?
Well, I don't play a lot of games, but it was over a stretch of about 2 weeks, maybe 3, where I didn't do very well. But that was fairly early in the season. It's been really steady since then. I just haven't had a lot of plays. I will have a play tomorrow in the NHL. There is a game I've got circled for tomorrow, and I will send that out later today.
Yeah, my NHL slump was about 10 days as well, and it was first week of February. Dave, last we spoke, you were killing it in baseball. What's going on with your baseball record now? How are things going? Are you feeling it still?
Yeah, I did have first time this has happened this season. Last night, I played 32 games so far, and this was the first one where my first 5 strategy backfired because the team lost the first 5 and won the game. But that's the first time that's happened, I believe, out of 32 selections, and there have been several where my first 5 won, and then that side or total blew up late. So the philosophy is working beautifully, and it's basically going to be an entire first 5 season until something changes for me. And I have one play up today, settled on one best bet. You can get that individually, or the package that's up, and it's good for any handicapper. But just for myself, I'll mention it's 220 net units of profit since January 1st, 2018 in all sports. Number one in baseball last year, number one in baseball so far this year by a pretty good margin. Every selection I've got across the board, and that includes college football, through December 31st for less than $4 a day. That's a great special. It expires at midnight, so don't fart around because you save a bunch of money, and I think you'll be pleased with the results.
Yeah, I know you'll be pleased with the results. Great offer, $999 for a full year of anyone's plays, and includes the 5% plays. Teddy, Dave's baseball start 20-9, 20 wins, 9 losses.
It's important to note that's not a full year. That's through the end of December. That's why you're getting the bargain price for $999. So you get it through December 31st, and that's good for any capper. So if you want Prez, you want me, you want Ralph Michaels, you want Dave Cokin, less than $4 a day gets you every play, including all 5%ers, through New Year's Eve.
Let's get to the next game, Dave. You want to talk about Houston versus the Angels? Minus 122 for the home team. 9 is the total. Where are we going in this game?
Well, I don't want Houston. Okay, so let's eliminate them. They're not hitting the baseball at all. Some of that was absences from the lineup last week, but those guys still aren't hitting. They're not scoring. Their WRC plus over the last week is 40. That's really bad. Okay, for those who don't follow that number, 100 is about average, and 40 is really bad. So they're not hitting at all. And Alex Cobb, I'm not going to say he's all the way back to where he was early in the decade when he was one of the best young pitchers in baseball. And then a lot of injury problems, and he kind of fallen off the map. But well, he's throwing the ball well. The velocity's up. He's throwing a splitter, but that's his pitch. Is the splitter, the thing it's called, and the thing is being thrown 45% of the time. So he's throwing it more than any other pitcher in baseball. That indicates extreme confidence in that pitch. I think he's probably the way I'd look tonight. Angels have the offensive edge as well. I consider the under here because Javier's been really good first time through the lineup. Second time through, not so good. But, when you get a guy who goes out there and he's probably going to give you maybe 1 run over 3 innings to start the game, unders look pretty good. I couldn't figure out what to do in the game. I didn't know. I like the Angels. I like the under. I didn't want to play both because I'm just conservative by nature in terms of volume. So I threw the game out completely. But if you're looking for some action, I think you can make a case for Angels first 5 and under first 5.
Yeah, I was going to ask, Dave, is this one of these deals where, because both these bullpens have been spotty. Houston's bullpens had a rough start to the season. LA's bullpen blew the game and the under yesterday. Would this be a game that you would only look at a first five line? And is all you're looking at now is first five line?
Teddy, I'm basically looking only at first five lines. Find me a bullpen that's predictable.
Yeah.
There aren't any. There basically aren't any. I mean, the team that went out and spent the most money in the offseason to fix their bullpen because it was historically bad last year was the Phillies. And the last 2 days, the Phillies bullpen has given up about 1,000 runs. It's just, to me, it is completely random, total volatility. I don't want it. I don't want to get involved. First five for me. I knew going into the season it was going to be a lot of first fives, and now it's basically all first fives. And since they're widely available at the same limits, basically, no problem. If it's something where people can't get the bet down, and this is why props are a lot of fun, but let's call it straight. You can't bet a lot of money on most of them, and they're not widely available. Sorry, that's just the way it is. But that's not the case with the first fives. They're as widely available as anything else.
Yeah. Dave Cokin, everybody. And obviously, Dave, it's been working well for you. And you were doing this last year as well, a number one handicapper in baseball last year, too. Dave, you want to talk hockey? And I love the game you chose. Carolina playing Florida. Yeah, it's going to be pure, delicious hockey as far as I'm concerned. It's really, really crucial to win this division, the Central. You got Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay all sitting at the top, 3 points apart. Nashville, Dallas, and Chicago fighting for that final spot. I predict Dallas, but that's a different story. But I don't think this Florida team is getting the kind of respect it deserves, to be honest with you. They are a home dog. I got to believe there is some value on this team. They've won three of their last, they've won 3 in a row, including beating Tampa Bay, and they've played outstanding against the Lightning all year. Carolina's won 3 of their last 4. I'm looking at this game, and I'm thinking there is value on this Florida team.
I don't disagree. Look, you mentioned they've won 3 in a row. It should be 4 in a row because they completely dominated Tampa in the first game that they lost. I was on Tampa in that game, and it's like, Jesus, did I steal that one? Because they got outplayed by a mile. So Florida's playing really good hockey right now. Excuse me. And so is Carolina. I think Carolina is one of the top 3 teams in the league. Right now, and I don't really use power ratings to determine selections. I just do them because I do power ratings. I've got Colorado and Vegas as the top 2 teams in the league, and I've actually moved Florida into the Carolina into the 3rd spot because I think Mrazek is going to be a big difference maker in the playoffs. As for tonight, I think I'd rather have the team that didn't play Tampa in the last 2 games, and that would be Florida.
Yeah,
Carolina's coming up to 2 games of the Lightning. So I lean Florida in this game. Didn't make my card, but certainly considered it. There are 2 really good games in the NHL tonight. The winner of this game goes into first place in the division, and the other really big battle is the Islanders-Washington game. Islanders playing at home where they almost never lose. Great night to watch some NHL.
Dave, I think the Winnipeg-Toronto game is also a juicy game, and I think those 2 teams are going to battle it out for first spot in that division as well. But I really do like the angle of taking the team that didn't play Tampa Bay. It's something I have been doing this year, and we spoke about it last week. Florida in the first period might be a good bet too, simply because when you're playing teams like Tampa Bay or, whatever is next for the Islanders or Washington after they play each other, there is an emotional moment at the beginning of the game where it's just a down moment. It's hard to stay up all the time like that. But out of curiosity, Dave, real quick, Dallas, Nashville, Blackhawks, which one do you think is going to sneak in?
The schedule says Dallas because they've got more games, and I think they're probably more capable. But boy, if they get stuck in overtime, they're basically stuck with 1 point because they can't win an overtime game. I don't think Dallas is going to do what they did last year come playoff time.
Yeah, well, I think Dallas is just a slow team, and that's the problem ultimately when they get into overtime. I don't agree with you on your top 2 teams in the league. I write a power poll every week. It's up at wagertalk.com on the news site. I was unable to write it this week. I've just been swamped this week, but I still have Colorado as the top team in the league. But I'll tell you, both Vegas and Carolina are scary. Dave Cokin, everyone. Dave, thanks for joining us. You got an NHL play up for tomorrow. You got a baseball play up for today, right?
The NHL play is not up yet. I wait for a couple of shops to post numbers so I know everybody can bet the game. But it'll be up in a couple hours. And there is one baseball best bet tonight. It's the only game I ended up playing. I think it offers some value, and you can get that right now. And by the way, check out the new setup with the guarantee. So that's something our customer base might look at.
Yeah, we got Ralph Michaels joining us later on in the show. We're going to talk about that, plus some new features that you can find over at wagertalk.com. Dave, thanks for joining us. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown. Ralph Michaels has so much info, it's going to explode. And the penalty box segment. Get out of here, Dave. Thanks for joining, brother.
To lock in your favorite WagerTalk expert through the end of the calendar year, it would cost you close to $2,000, but you can get all sports for all of 2021 from the handicapper of your choice for only $9.99. This comes out to under $4 per day and includes any rare 5% best bets released over this time.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk the Boston Celtics and the Phoenix Suns in NBA tonight. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen as we speak. Right now, we're looking at Phoenix minus 1.5, total 220. The early money has come for Boston this morning, or at least this morning here on the West Coast. Afternoon now for you guys back east. I agree with the line move towards Boston from a situational standpoint. Phoenix, that was a war last night against Philly, all right? And it was a very physical game. The Suns have won at Milwaukee on this road trip. Then they went to Philly and won that game. 2 hard-fought, brutal contests. Now it's the second of back-to-backs, and they're facing a Celtics team off a loss and with rest. Celtics off a loss at home, 9-3 against the spread, 9-3 straight up. They've been pretty good in this role. Brad Stevens, still concerned about health, quote, we're hopeful at some point here in the next 14 games we can have everyone on the roster available. And it's not going to be a Celtics team that's at full strength or not likely. Jason Tatum is expected to play. Kemba Walker is expected to play. Marcus Smart is expected to play. So even if they don't have Jaylen Brown, who's doubtful, Fournier's been out. Robert Williams, it doesn't look like he's going to go. But even without Jaylen Brown, who you love to have if you're Boston, but that's why they're dogs in this game, not favorites. Even without Brown, you have a Celtics team that's in revenge. These two teams battled. Back in February, I remember the game. And the Celtics were way down. They rallied to, I think they got within 3 with a minute left and then fell short. And it's a Boston team, again, coming off a shoddy showing against Chicago with 2 days of break. This isn't an NBA season where you have many teams that have many situations where you have one team coming in on back-to-backs and the other team off a loss and an extra day's rest. And Jason Tatum talking about, he got a triple-double the other night, but he was 3 for 17 from the shooting from the floor. It was a tough night. I'm not convinced tonight's going to be quite as tough. I think Boston's going to hang around. I think Boston's going to win this game, or at least come pretty darn close. We're seeing some over money coming as well, and that's not a line move that I necessarily agree with. So lean Celtics, lean under, and if you like Boston, I bet that sooner rather than later. There's been nothing but Celtics money coming so far this morning, based on the injury status and based on the fact that the Suns are not in a particularly good scheduling spot. There you have it, Prez. Big game breakdown. Back to you, my friend.
Great stuff, Teddy. We've got Ralph Michaels joining us, everybody. Ralph, where are you, my friend? Oh, there you are.
Ralph, busy. I was busy typing into my database. So before we get into business today, you know me, when Teddy's talking and I love listening to him break down a game, I have to go to the database. So Teddy, since 2002, we're talking a pretty good sample size. If a team was on the road and beat a team with a win percentage of 65% or higher, and now has no rest and is playing a team with a win percentage of 50% or more, so you're off a battle against a good team, you beat them, no rest against a winning team on the road again, you are 43.1% against the spread since 2002.
So that's a long-term sample size that says, look at the Celtics plus tonight, not the Suns minus.
I cannot hear Teddy, Joe.
I got to tell you, Ralph, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but man, like, way to make an entrance, dude. Full on Liberace
guys, my apologies.
style. Can you hear us?
I can. Sorry, I had a technical difficulty, which means my big head pulled the wire out of my microphone. So I'd love to have a good excuse, but there was no excuse. So let's just be honest about it. I screwed up. So.
Well, anyway, outstanding entrance right off the bat with actionable, incredible information. Ralph, we got a lot to talk to you about, but I want to start right off the bat. We've got a new program going on at WagerTalk.com with these guaranteed 5% plays, etc. Do you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, let's get rid of that comment right there, Prez, and change that. We now have every pick with the option of getting it guaranteed. So basically, folks, we've got this. If I load a 3% package, if I load a 4% package, or if I load a 5% package, it doesn't matter. You have the ability to buy that play, or for a few dollars more, you buy that play with 100% guarantee. So any cash purchase, and if that player package loses, you get 100% in capper credits. So same great program, same great packages, but you now have the choice to pick any play or any daily package without a guarantee at a discount or with the guaranteed price.
Ralph, as well, I want to bring it. Sorry, Teddy, you wanted to talk? Go ahead, man.
Oh, I was going to ask about the we lowered the prices on the biggest plays, right? The 5% plays used to be $40 and now they're $35. So we're lowering prices on the strongest selection.
Yeah, we did. The only negative, let's be forward about this, is that it's now 100. Every play is now 100% guarantee if the play loses. So we did lower the price by $5. If the 5% loses, they now get 100% in capper credit. So we needed for the system-wide consistency. So any package that you purchase now, if you purchase the guaranteed and it does not show a profit, you get 100% in capper credit for that handicapper to use on any daily play, any daily package, or all the way up to a 3-day package now.
Awesome. Guys, I want to bring attention to a new feature we have at WagerTalk.com. Head to the free picks page. On the top right corner, you will see a leaderboard of people who's doing the best over the last 3 days, 7 days, 30 days, etc. It's an awesome feature. It's done by Sport. I think you guys will love it, so check that out. Ralph, we literally have like 10 minutes tops with you, so let's get straight into some NHL TNA.
Well, Prez and Teddy, last week on the segment, we talked about teams playing back-to-back games with no rest. So now I wanted to break down how teams do in the first game playing the same opponent in back-to-back games, or the second game of playing the same opponent in back-to-back games. So I highlighted the tops, I highlighted the bottoms. I'll post this on Twitter so you guys can copy it or take it off or get a deeper look. But in the first game of back-to-backs, this is sorted by profit. It's been the Penguins, the Knights, the Lightnings, the Capitals, and the Avalanche. On the bottom, it's been the Ducks, the Canadians, the Kings, and the Devils. Prez, does anything there jump out to you with teams that are positive or negative in the first of back-to-back games? Obviously, those very poor teams, we talk about the Sabres, right? The Sabres had an 18-game losing streak. Look down. The Sabres are probably 7 from the bottom. They're only down 6 units because they're 5-12 with an average line of plus $1.60. But any from the top 5 or bottom 4 that I have highlighted?
Yeah, Ralph, really great stuff. And the thing is simple. Hockey is one of those games where the coach and the strategy is so crucial. And when you're looking, one of the things I've been doing all year is taking the better team in the first game of a back-to-back. And that chart explains that I'm doing it right. All the teams you mentioned, Vegas, the Avs, you literally handpicked the top 5 teams in all of hockey, give or take 1 or 2. And conversely, all the teams that are losing on that first game are all the crap teams in hockey. And, that's an angle that I didn't know those trends, but it is in total keeping with what I'm doing in hockey right now. So I'm not surprised at all.
Well, Prez, you are going to have some surprises here. If you look on the right-hand side, look at the second of back-to-back games versus the same opponent. What jumps out at you? How about the number 4 most profitable team, the Detroit Red Wings? They're 10-13, but at an average line of plus 183, they're plus 7 units. And we talked about the Tampa Bay Lightning last week as well. Look at them. They are 4th worst in the second of back-to-back games. They are 13-10 with an average line of minus 208. So guys, do not fall for the records in the second of those games. Take a look at this chart. The first opponent meeting pretty much holds true, guys. But the second of back-to-back games is a complete eye-opener for me.
Yeah, Ralph, it really isn't for me. It might feel surprising to a lot of people because how are the Red Wings winning these second games? But the bottom line is, firstly, the Red Wings are losing a ton of the first group of games, and the Lightning are winning those first games. That's number one that you have to take away from that. And the bottom line is, whoever the Detroit is playing, by the time we get to that second game, the team they're playing, it's just a bad spot for those teams. They're coming off of games against, 4-point games that are going to affect their standings. Then they play a crappy team like Detroit, beat them. Then they play a crappy team like Detroit again. And by then they're just emotionally drained and really ready to have a break. So I'm not blown away by that. I love the actual statistic and I think it's actionable info, but I'm not truly amazed by that statistic. Teddy, anything you want to add to this before we get into some hoops, some baseball?
You want me to add something to your NHL discussion based on database?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I know you know about Patrick Marleau. I mean, you've really demonstrated some real hockey acumen of late.
I can probably name a couple of Knights. Carlson, didn't we sign him to a no? I don't know.
Yeah.
Carlson,
with a K.
Stone, and Pacioretty, right? Every jersey you see walking around.
Pacioretty.
Yeah.
The funniest thing about Vegas. Yeah, I can't. We don't have time. But I'll just say real quick.
I was going to say,
I've never seen a town go from nobody talks about hockey to every single kid in town wearing a jersey and street hockey on every street than that first year when the Knights became a franchise. This town went from no hockey to all hockey in a way that was stunning.
Buster
What'll
Buster
be-
was in town, and we met with Buster, Las Vegas, Chris Bryant and I yesterday. And what we talked about was this. It was the amount of young kids and girls and ladies that jumped onto the Knights bandwagon, which was incredible. I was from Cleveland. Some ladies were Browns fans, some ladies were Indians fans. But, you go to your local pub here, and there's groups of 6 girls watching the Knights games as a girl nights out, which, never happened before. All right, we're short on time. I have a play today in the NHL, guys. Game number 024. First period, St. Louis plus 125. Colorado's been shut down with COVID. They've only practiced one day. That was yesterday. They haven't played since 4/14. They're without the second leading scorer in the NHL in Mikko Rantanen. Road teams with 4 or more days rest have only averaged half a goal in the first period, allowing 0.8 goals. St. Louis hung tough against Colorado their last game, losing 4-3. St. Louis has scored 20 goals in the last 5 games. And in the first period, the Blues are averaging 1.8 goals per game, allowing only 0.6. So we are going to take an underdog, the St. Louis Blues, plus 125 in the first period against a very rested or rusty Colorado Avalanche.
Ralph Michaels. I love that play, and it makes a lot of sense. And if you go back and look at these teams coming off of these long stretches of inactivity, minus Vancouver against the Leafs, you would be making a lot of money making those type of bets. Actually,
I've got a number, Prez. I've got a number for that stat right there. NHL teams with more than 4 days rest this season are 9-13. Average line of minus 114. So you are only 9 wins, 13 losses, despite being an average favorite of 114 per game. So your statement does hold water with my database.
Man, that was some good Rantanen. Okay. Pace, it's Rantanen. Baseball.
Rantanen.
Ralph, anyway, Dave Cokin spoke about the Angels and the Astros. You want to talk about this game as well? Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't know Dave was talking about this game when I sent it in.
It's all good.
I am with him as well. I am going to go full game though. I did go first 5 on the Reds yesterday. That worked out great. They had a 3-0 lead. The Reds gave up 3 runs in the 9th, lost in extra innings. But this game, I'm going to go the whole game. Houston's pitching Javier. Javier, a very young pitcher, made 2 starts. Pitched 3 2/3 innings his first game, 5 innings his second game. The Astros sent him to an alternate site to try to get his pitch count up. So he's making his first start since April the 8th in the majors. Cokin talked about Cobb. Well, I'm going to throw in one more stat to show how Cobb has pitched. He has given up 3 runs each of his first 2 games, both going 6 innings. But he has a 17-2 strikeout walk ratio in those 2 games. Angels batting .290 the last 10 days. Houston batting .196. They really miss Altuve in that lineup, their go-to. So I'm going to go full game. Angels plus 112.
Hey, you're not going to catch me betting this one the other way, Ralph. Talk about what you have
Houston
going today.
1-10 is the favorite, Teddy, their last 11. 1-10 is the favorite. The Houston Astros, their last 11 games.
Okay.
Talk about what you have going today,
Ralph. Okay, Teddy. Next time, don't slack me to talk and then
All right.
Go ahead, Ralph.
Guys, if we have 1 second, I'd rather just put up the NBA situational play of the day, Joe, if you can. Teddy, you and I have talked about this. When a team is home for a second straight game with no rest, when a team is a road second game, how many times do we hear people say, that home team with no rest has so much more advantage except versus a team traveling? Well, since 2012, home teams with no rest, home for a second straight, against a road team with no rest, on the road for a second straight game, home team only 43.2% against the spread. That means an unrested road team, second of back-to-back road games, 57% against the spread. It applies to the Pistons tonight, the Heat on May 2nd and the Warriors on May 4th. Those are a few situations to mark your calendars. We'll see if the road team does continue to have success in the next week.
Thank
Ralph
you so
Michaels,
much,
everybody.
Ralph. Great stuff.
Okay, Teddy, you handle it, and also do the penalty box segment. 3 hockey picks, please. I'll sit back.
All I'm trying to do is close out Ralph and throw to you. I tried the first time, it failed. Let's try the second time. Ralph, thank you so much for joining us on WagerTalk today. Best of luck tonight. Now, let's go to Lawrence in the penalty.
We're live. I love when Joe says that in my ear. Guys, what a great show we're having today. Dave Cokin, Ralph Michaels. But now it's time for the penalty box segment. And for me, I get to speak hockey, and I absolutely love talking hockey. Yesterday, I told you guys 4 dogs, 2 of them won. So that actually makes for a winning day. I think I'm going to give you guys a 3-0 day today. I also have 3 client plays up as well. But the 3 plays I'm giving out right now are 3 plays I will actually be personally betting. So let's start with Boston and Buffalo. We had a 2-0 win by Boston last game. And man, I really see no reason why that won't change, why that won't be the same. Boston this year, 16-26 to the under. This game has 5.5 as the line. I am going right under the total here. I think Buffalo is going to score at most 1 goal. I think we'll get a 3-1 game. I like Boston -1.5, but my actual personal bet on this game will be under the total of 5.5. Let's go to the Devils, New Jersey. I released this to my clients a couple of days ago, over 6. There were 7 goals scored in the 3rd period. We're going straight back to the over in this game. Pittsburgh 24-20 to the over. New Jersey 1 up to the over as well. But New Jersey 3 games in a row to the over. And this Pittsburgh team can score with anybody. 6-4 in their last 10 to the over. I think we're going to see a high scoring game. And the Stars and the Red Wings, Dallas in regulation, guys, it's around -120. This Dallas team is going to lay down a run right in front of our eyes, so look to play them moving forward. That's it for me. That's the penalty box segment. I need a shawarma, Teddy. Please end the show.
You always need a shawarma. I want to thank.
It's my go-to. It's my go-to, Teddy.
Yeah, no
Legit.
Doubt.
I eat 2 shawarmas a week, bro.
Please tell us more. I'm sure at the end of the show, our audience is very, very interested in what your eating habits are and how many times per week you consume various foods. Why don't you come up with a list and let's get a graphic up there so everyone will know.
Joe,
Right.
Tomorrow I want a list of what I eat on a regular basis. Everybody wants to hear. Teddy, we only have 55 likes, man. 55 likes. What? Did you do something wrong?
Yeah, I farted. And they're all smelling
Okay.
it. Yeah. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day. Please, before you leave, you give us a like. We genuinely appreciate it. It's the only thing we ask when you watch our content on a day in, day out basis. Thanks to Ralph Michaels. Thanks to Dave Cokin. Thanks to Doran Airy. Thanks to my co-host, Lawrence Presman. Thanks to you guys for taking time out of your day to hang out. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, same channel. Between now and then, enjoy the game.
To lock in your favorite WagerTalk expert through the end of the calendar year, it would cost you close to $2,000, but you can get all sports for all of 2021 from the handicapper of your choice for only $9.99. This comes out to under $4 per day and includes any rare 5% best bets released over this time.